Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show in which I attempt to find out how to best offend someone while not getting my feelings hurt. I don't know. You'd almost think I don't write these intros or something. And I come to you live from Crater Valley on the moon with Dog Cat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome again to Thursday. Temperature challenging Thursday. It is cold out there, but I hope wherever you are staying warm and toasty, or at least have enough of a heater going that you're lukewarm. Something like that. I don't know. But yes, welcome again to the wonderful world of off-brand TED Talks. We are at the tail end of the week, and we have to get ready to finish off the penultimate day of the work week with a TEDx, because why not? It's what to do. It's what's for dinner or something. But before I get into tonight's topic, which I'm sure will be very educational for all of us, who's joining me on this adventure into, I suppose, reasonable discourse or something? I suppose we'll find out as we go. Good evening to Tyr Alexander, the Gentleman Lich. Please address me by Tyr of Flame and Fury. I read what the card says. It says the Gentleman Lich. I don't know. Rotten Corpse. Hello. Who else is here? Keeverdam. Hello. And Keeverdam has, of course, provided us helpfully the links to our friends' GoFundMe's up at the top of the chat box. Guys, you take a look at those for a moment, if you would, for our friends Twisted Skipster, James Colley, Grisella, and Angry Illinoisian. They and their families have experienced a hardship of one form or another in recent months. And if you can take a look at those, donate if you are able to, please. If you're not, please do share those out on social media to help out. It is very much appreciated. So thank you for that. And thank you, Keeverdam, for providing those, because apparently, as far as I know, YouTube still does not allow me to post my own chat messages for whatever reason. Advocatus Diaboli, hello. Mike R, hello. Another Guy V, hello. Or Another Guy 5. Could be Roman. Hello. Lurking Gopher. Hello. Attack Alpaca. Hello. Urcole Di Stefano. Hello. Jamie Melquist. Hello. Shadowclaw. Hello. Ryan R. Hello. Of the R clan. The Mike R clan. The Ryan R clan. I think we have some other R's in here somewhere. Did I already say hello to Shadowclaw? I think I did, but either way, hello again. C. Thomas. Hello. Zan Wild. Hello. Officer Buck, thank you so much for the, what is it there? Oh, the happy, smiley Dog Cat Fox. Oh, Dog Cat.
Wowee, wow.
Oh, there's an irate Alex Dog Cat Fox. Thank you so much, Officer Buck. Appreciate it. Let's see. Vader35. Hello. Tony Giff. Hello. Alan Thyler. Hello. And thank you so much for the #1 Samurai Dog Cat Fox. Oh, Dog Cat Fox.
Wow. Wow.
There's a Sinatra Says Dog Cat Fox. Thank you so much, Alan. That's very generous of you. Hope you're having a good evening. And also, Officer Buck again, 89.6 degrees Fahrenheit here. Isn't that, no, it's 98.6 is body temperature. Where are you? Are you in Florida or the Sahara or something? 89.6. Or you just have like a really good heater. I don't know. Anyway, Zed the Snarky. Hello. Who else is here? You're Ridiculous Lunatic. Hello, Divine Petulance. Boop. Hello, Brittany Holland. Hello, Roger Reynolds. Hello. Who else is here? Datura Jones. Hello. Jam. Hello. Noah Asensio. Hello. And Angelverse. Hello. All right. If I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, hello. Oh, speaking of which, Spoonie the Rebel. Hello. So tonight, as usual, I was caught by the title of this presentation more than anything else, because as soon as my eyes just passed along it, because every couple of days or so, TEDx has a giant dump of new presentations. And so every couple of days, I'll start paging through them and just kind of looking and scanning and seeing if anything jumps out at me and does anything sound interesting. And when my eyes fell upon this one, I had an immediate, visceral reaction. I had a response to the rhetorical question asked of me from the title. Because the title is, What to Do When You Offend Someone. And in my mind, before I even thought about it, before I even had any sort of conscious notion of what I was reading, my mind said, tell them to grow up. That was my response. What to do if you offend someone, because as we know, offenses taken, never given. You are purportedly in control of your own emotions and how you decide to process something that comes your way. But I don't know what our speaker is going to say about it. That's why I was curious. Now, my suspicion is it's going to be something, let's say, diplomatic or placative, if is that the correct word, placative, wherein I say something and someone says, well, that offends me. And then my role in that situation is to then gently interrogate that person as to find out why have I offended you? And they'll explain to me how their delicate little fifis have been hurt. And then I have to sort of come to some sort of accord with them on the basis of, I don't know, capitulating to their hurt feelings or something. I mean, I guess context does matter and it all depends on the circumstances, but that's my suspicion. But in what way, shape, or form that'll take, I don't know. We will find out, together. And another from Officer Buck, thanks so much. Australia. Oh, Australia. My AC has me at 73.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Your air conditioning has you at 73 degrees. Holy cow. You guys live on the sun. I tell you what. But thank you, Officer Buck. And as much as that constitutes staying cool, please stay cool. Let's see. Jane Milquist says, your mind said bingo. My mind's telling me bingo, but my body's telling me Dr. Pepper. No, that doesn't work. Ain't nothing wrong with relationship strategist. I don't know. Anyway, tonight's bingo card, speaking of bingos, is bingo card A. A as in the Tet offensive. I put several, I tried to come up with something for the poll today to choose the bingo card that had the word offensive or offense in it. And the first thing that came to my mind was the Tet offensive. And then there was charm offensive. And then there was the Eagles offensive line. Anyway, selection A won the bingo poll. And thus we have bingo card A. Links to the bingo cards are in the description. If you'd like to join in on the poll each week to decide upon the bingo card, you can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at scribe_light. Also, again, thank you, Alan Thyler, for the 29 degrees Fahrenheit in Louisiana, Kentucky. Or Louisville, Kentucky, pardon me. Louisiana, Kentucky. I suppose is there a Louisiana, Kentucky? Louisville, Kentucky, and snow. Well, you have my sympathies. At least it's not below zero, as it has been in some other places. But thank you, Alan. And I hope you're staying warm in your frigid Kentucky. All right. Well, with all that as preamble, let's get into it. We'll start off with a few seconds for a sound test. This one clocks in at just over 12 minutes, basically your average TEDx talk. Our speaker is apparently Lambers Fisher. Very unique name, relationship strategist. And thus we shall learn what to do if you offend someone. Here we go.
They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
They do say that. It's true. It's true. I wonder if we're going to have, do you think we'll have microaggressions mentioned here? Because these days when I think about someone taking offense to something and trying to be diplomatic about it and saying, well, maybe you didn't intend anything, right? Your intentions were good, but your effect was negative. You think we'll hear about microaggressions? I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Alan Thyler says, all good. Mike R. says, sounds good. Advocast Diabli says, I hear it, but I am not offended yet. False advertising. Well, it didn't say you will be offended. It's what to do if you offend someone. And Gen T Maxi says, I win. It's minus 13 Fahrenheit where I am. That's warm too. Was minus 18 2 days ago. Well, you're a Yeti Canadian. Your stock just lives in ice. In fact, I think you're made of ice and maple syrup or something, right? Anyway, I'm sure that's a mean thing. Did I offend you? Okay, well, I'm sure you can take it. You all are very polite and forgiving up there. I hear.
But let's be honest.
Okay, let's be honest.
Do we really want to live in a world where we no longer maintain good intentions?
Wait, how does saying the road to hell is paved with good intentions lead to, do we want to live in a world without good intentions? Okay, now that doesn't track to me, but okay, whatever.
Despite how negative and polarizing the world may seem at times, many
Yeah, okay.
of us are still doing our best to maintain good intentions and positive interactions with each other.
Yeah.
And yet, it can be frustrating sometimes to discover that something that we've said or done was still experienced by somebody else as being offensive.
Well, short of me trying to irritate someone, all I'd have to say to that is, you are responsible for your own emotions. Your self-esteem, your precious feelings are not my responsibility. You know, unless I'm specifically trying to target someone, to insult them, to troll them, to dunk on them or something else, which, you know, I certainly have never been guilty of in my entire life. Short of that, somebody just inadvertently or collaterally deciding to take offense is their problem.
In response to this, it's easy to get stuck in unhealthy, extreme reactions, such as strongly defending our character from perceived attacks.
Perceived attacks? Well, okay. I mean, how is it wait? Who's responding to what here? Is the we need to have a very clear delineation. We have the speaker and we have the recipient. Okay, so are you talking about the speaker or the recipient, the person who's taking offense? I mean, if I make a broad accusation of a group of people or something and decide to impugn their character or whatever, and somebody decides to respond in a defensive manner, sure, I provoked them into that. Okay. Maybe I'm overanalyzing this. What are you talking about, Scribe? You're watching a TEDx and thinking deeply about it. Of course, you're overanalyzing it.
Only to realize that we've invalidated someone else's feelings as a result.
Invalidated someone else's feelings. So if someone accuses me of racism and I say, prove it, and they say, you hurt my feelings, I'm supposed to do what?
Or maybe we walk on eggshells or jump through every hoop possible to avoid offending anyone, only to shame ourselves for making any mistakes or blame others for being too sensitive.
I guess I'm going to need an example. This could go all over the place. I also like the fact that apparently this series of presentations is called Intersection Connection in Minneapolis. And boy, oh boy, look at that crowd. Oh boy.
Or maybe we just give up altogether.
Okay.
Concluding that, you just can't make anybody happy these days. So why even try?
Again, what are we talking about?
I don't know about you, but that makes me scared.
That makes you scared? Pray tell.
Because I don't know how we can maintain good intentions and positive interactions with each other if we are still going around living in fear of even unintentional offenses.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that, because obviously cancel culture, microaggressions, what you said hurts my feelings, and therefore you are now a criminal in my mind because you don't agree with me 100%, or I've decided to turn you into a crusade. Yes. If our speaker is promoting civil discourse, I might have not much to oppose here, which would be a rarity for TEDx most times.
However,
I
believe there's another way.
Okay.
With your help, I believe that we can maintain good intentions, avoid the shame and blame game, and even strengthen interactions with those who we encounter on a regular basis.
Okay.
If that's of interest to you, then I invite you to join me in learning to accept the inevitability of offense.
Okay. Well, you have me intrigued. This sounds like a reasonable, at least so far, introduction to things. Let's go to the bingo card real quick and remind ourselves what we are listening for. I don't know that he's hit on anything yet, but you never know. Let's take a look. Remember, this is bingo card A. Links to the bingo cards are in the description. Collectivizes own demographic. Not yet. Systemic or institutional. Sales pitch for product or service. Yeah, I got to be a stickler on this one. I mean, he is trying to sell us on an idea, unless that leads to an app or a nonprofit or something. I can't say it's a product or service just yet. Childhood or family anecdote? Not yet. Diversity, equity, or inclusion? No. Plays victim? Not yet. Microaggressions or unconscious bias? I'd be surprised if we don't get that one somewhere in here. Either directly or in aggregate. Privilege contradicts own point or argument, not yet. Patriarchy, no. Weightless example. Economic disparity, feminism, marginalization, a list, we might have one in here like steps to take and so on. White supremacy, word salad, self-vilification or wretchedness. It's possible, but I don't know. Argumentative non sequitur, attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. That's entirely possible. Mind reading or assumes motives. He's just given sort of hypotheticals so far, so we'll see. Benevolent condescension, anecdote that probably never happened, and lastly, leaves out vital context. So at least as of right now, as far as I can tell, we don't have anything to circle, which is, we're a minute and 30 seconds in and not one thing to circle? Oh my gosh. So we'll leave it there for now. That's what we're listening for. Let's continue.
Let me explain.
Okay.
During my 20 plus years as a marriage and family therapist, I've considered it an honor to be welcomed into the emotionally vulnerable spaces of new and seasoned couples through a variety of life circumstances and challenges.
Okay. Family therapist. I wonder if he knows or knows about Dr. Chris Hoff.
During that time, I've gained a great appreciation for 4 relationship strengthening principles.
4 principles? Well, that sounds like a list to me, so I'm going to circle a list. Maybe a little preemptory, but do it anyway. And also free space, because free is a good price.
That have helped not only the couples who I serve, but also individual, personal, and professional relationships in all walks of life.
Okay.
This first relationship strengthening principle comes to life for me during one of my greatest professional joys. Which is when premarital engaged couples come into my office with a big smile on their face, expressing how confident that they are that they have found the one who they are to spend the rest of their life with.
And you're there to shoot down those hopes and dreams with some reality doses, aren't you? No, that'd be me.
Primarily because they never disagree or argue with each other. That's when I get a big smile on my face and I say, that is awesome. You guys are in the right place.
Yeah, keep that up. For maybe about 2 or 3 years, and then everything starts going downhill.
Because I can help you fix that. Yeah. They get confused, just like that. And they say, wait, what? You want us to argue and fight with each other? I reassuringly say, no. But I do want you to know that you can disagree with each other and still love each other.
Okay, I gotta say, so far, I'm getting optimistic. As I've said several times on this channel or other places elsewise, civil discourse is something that needs to become mainstream again. I like my occasional snarky comment or little dig at people or something, or a little bit of trolling here or there. But overall, civil discourse versus immediate vilification over disagreement. Yeah, let's go for that. All right, well, you got me going so far.
You can misunderstand each other and not conclude that maybe we weren't meant to be, or end the relationship prematurely due to seemingly irreconcilable offenses.
Well, I guess it depends on what seemingly is and what the offenses are, but sure.
You see, no matter how hard you try, we will all offend someone at some point in time in our lives.
Oh, tell me about it.
You know how I know?
Because we're all human and not all of us get along with one another?
Because there's no absolute list of what's offensive and what's not.
No, not any absolute list, but there are some things that always will be. Like premeditated murder.
What's offensive changes over time. What's offensive to one person is perfectly fine to the next.
Yes.
After all, you can't tell someone what they should be offended by and what they shouldn't.
You sure can tell them that. Whether or not they'll accept it is a completely different issue. I don't know if you spent any time on the internet.
Not only that, but what's offensive is not always about an absolute list of right or wrongs, but more often something that was said or done that reminds someone of a past hurt and makes them fear that future harm is on the way.
Right. So, come on, just say microaggression. Come on, let's do it. Let's get it over with.
As a result, if you find out that you've unintentionally offended someone, I encourage you to resist the temptation to get stuck in the shock of the existence of the offense. Instead, accept the inevitability of offense.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just pondering for the pondering's sake here for a second. Okay, so I accept that I'm not going to please all of the people all of the time, unless they happen to be women I'm dating. But that's a whole other thing. That's not my ego talking. But okay, yes, I have every risk every day of saying something that somewhere, somehow, some way, someone is going to be offended, and just accept it. Yes. Okay. I'm still waiting to hear if there's anything that I'm supposed to do, say, or perform to placate someone who tells me they've been offended. I'm still waiting to see if there's a part to that.
Take the time to learn what made that offensive to the person in front of you.
No, that's not my problem. Okay. I wondered and I got a little bit of an answer. No, I don't care. Not really. Yes, okay, it depends on the context, depends on the circumstances. I mean, if someone here's the thing. When I think of a response to someone saying something as, that offends me, I think back to a quote from Christopher Hitchens, of all people. There's a clip of him out there somewhere where he's at a podium in some dark auditorium or something, and he talks about the fact that he doesn't quite understand what to do when someone says, that's offensive, because he's still waiting to hear what your argument is. It's not an argument for anything. So simply being offended doesn't tell me anything and doesn't make me all that much curious about what you have to say. If you've got a counterpoint, if you've got a rejoinder or something, by all means, voice it. But simply saying, my feelings are hurt by that, means nothing, really.
And then make every reasonable effort to reduce the likelihood of repeating that offense moving forward.
No. Well, if I say something, let's say, that is based on my personal principles and is something that I truly believe in, and I have no problem voicing out into the public square, and somebody says, that's offensive. And I say, why do you say that's offensive? And they say, because I don't disagree with it. I'm not going to suddenly turn around and say, oh, well, then I'll never say that thing again ever because I don't want to hurt your feelings. No. But I mean, it would help if you give us some, even hypothetical examples of what you're talking about, because I'm sure there are situations where it could be a circumstance of debate, right? If someone's saying something and they get offended by it and they tell you why, and the other person, here's a legitimate perspective rather than just simply my feelings are hurt, that'd be a whole different category, but go on.
The second relationship strengthening principle that comes to life for me often does so when I see couples believing that if you don't know me by now,
if you don't know me by now, you'd better give me back that engagement ring. Ooh. Oh, pardon me.
You will never know me.
Okay, yeah, all right. We're on the same page.
As if to convey that if you don't instantly understand and know everything about me, then you must not truly love me.
No, I wouldn't say that necessarily. I mean, it might indicate someone's not been paying attention, and if that happens more and more and more, if you're not listening to your partner or paying attention to their opinions, wants, needs, and so on and so forth, it could start to build up over time into a problem. So, I mean, do you care enough about the other person to pay attention to and attempt to retain information about them? It's a sign. It's not necessarily a deal breaker on a one occasional business kind of situation, but
in reality,
I
found that some of the best and long-lasting couple relationships are the ones that embrace not knowing everything that there is to know about a person instantly, but actually appreciate the opportunity to keep the relationship fresh by learning new things about each other for years to come.
Well, yes, it is probably an impossible task to say that you know someone entirely, even after spending extensive periods of time with them. Because more often than not, both you and the other person are going to encounter things in life that you never encountered before. And how you react to those things will be not only new to you, but certainly new to the people around you. He's talking about family therapy, so I'm going to give a little quick anecdote because I was thinking about my parents today. They're going to be coming down to visit next week sometime. My father has to get a medical checkup on something. And my parents feel to me as a sort of a unique example. My parents were married 10 years before I was born. It seems like a very long time for a married couple to then have children a decade after being married. But here's the thing. My parents attempted to have children throughout those 10 years, but on 3 separate occasions over those 10 years, my mother miscarried. My parents didn't believe they could have children at a certain point and pretty much gave up on the subject. And then I came along, and then my sister came along the next year, and they're like, okay, that's it. But here's the thing. They're having gone through not only those travails, let's say, but as well as being together and going through the ups and downs and sideways of life in general for a decade before I or my sister came along. I think, it is maybe the thinnest of silver linings to such hardship, but I think that their relationship by that point was only strengthened before they even had children to take care of together. And I think that ultimately that was a benefit to both me and my sister growing up, that my parents had such a solid relationship and solid foundation with one another, that they'd been through all of that before having to raise children. Now, that's not a diss on anybody who has children within, 6 months of getting married or anything. But in my parents' situation, I just find it a very unique kind of a relationship in that way, that, I think they were stronger for it. And I think some of those benefits, at least philosophically, got passed down to my sister and I. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. It all depends. But anyway, I was just thinking about my parents for a second. So there you go. I was just little scribe anecdote.
Similarly, in your personal and professional relationships, I encourage you to acknowledge that you can't know everything there is to know about everyone all the time.
Maybe I'm a rare specimen. I guess I already reflexively don't assume to know everything about everybody.
Or put more simply, I encourage you to accept the inevitability of ignorance.
Okay, so we got accept the inevitability of offense, accept the inevitability of ignorance. Okay.
Now, I don't know about you, but I grew up with ignorance as an insult, synonymous with lack of intelligence.
Yes, it can be taken that way, sure.
But in reality, ignorance is merely the lack of knowledge.
Yes.
And if we're honest, we all lack knowledge about a variety of different life circumstances, including the things that many people find offensive.
Sure. If you take offense to something that I have no knowledge of, yes, okay.
However, I do fair warn you. If you are informed that you unintentionally offended someone and the first thing out of your mouth is a justification for how you didn't know that it was offensive, it is emotionally reasonable for someone else to respond in frustration. How could you not know?
Well, I'd say because I'm not a mind reader. And then I'd follow up with, and your feelings are not my responsibility. I know. I keep coming up. It's a pretty hard line in my mind, Now, there are exceptions to things. Like, you ever been in a situation where you're at like a group of friends or family gathering or something, and you say something, you make a joke, whatever else, and only after the words fall from your lips do you realize you just referenced something unintentionally or touched on a sore spot to somebody in the room. Like, it suddenly occurred to you like, oh, whoops, I said that thing and Aunt Millie's right there and she just had that thing happen to her. And you kind of cringe inside like, oh, that was bad timing, too soon, something like that. Those situations where tact retroactively takes over. Yeah, those are situations where I could see like, yeah, but that's not from a place of ignorance, admittedly. That's from a place of sort of like late bloomer revelation. So again, every circumstance is different, but in general terms, that's offensive. It's like, I didn't know that would offend you. That's not what my response would be. Personally, no.
Everybody knows that that's offensive.
Uh-huh.
Except there's nothing that everyone knows.
Are you sure about that? I don't know. I'm sure I could say a few choice words right here on YouTube that would get me in trouble with the algorithm gods that most people would say are offensive. Even if they don't think they are offensive, they would know that societally speaking, you're putting yourself into some pretty hot water if you say such things out loud in public. So, just saying.
Not only that, but how did you not know that it was offensive?
Uh-huh.
Maybe you were never taught by someone important to you that it was offensive.
Hmm.
Maybe you never personally experienced the hurt that would have taught you that it was offensive.
Maybe I don't care if I offend someone.
Maybe you were never surrounded by people who experienced the hurt that would have taught you by witnessing that it was offensive. How could you not know?
I wonder what demographic or demographics he might be referencing there abstractly, because I've heard similar things before.
Well, how could you also know?
I know.
What makes this not just another insensitive, defensive excuse is that we can learn to accept the inevitability of ignorance as a temporary state, turning that accusation into an opportunity.
Oh, no. Okay. Now we're getting into getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Now we're getting into, I have to internalize your sensitivities into changing myself to please you. Maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm being too reflexive. I guess we'll find out. But here's the thing. I wonder if he'll get around to the responsibility of the person taking offense. So far, he's focused primarily on what the speaker should do or how the speaker should process the interaction. He hasn't said much, as far as I can tell, if anything, about the responsibility of the offense taker.
To reduce our ignorance by increasing our knowledge and using that knowledge to reduce the likelihood of the next offense moving forward.
No. Wait. You said accept the inevitability of offense. You can't avoid offense. And try as you might, you're not going. Okay. I'm going to say contradicts own point or argument right there. You can't tell us to accept the inevitability of offense and then say that we're supposed to learn how to avoid causing offense later. It's going to happen. So now I might be a bit too trigger happy with that one, but let me know. And if you have an argument either for a square to be circled or a counter argument for a square that has been circled, it's not impossible to have one of those. Hold on to it till the end of the show, and we'll go over the bingo card as a group.
The third relationship strengthening principle comes to life for me when I see couples stuck in the reasonable yet futile search for perfect communication. For while healthy communication is essential to a good relationship, it's also perfectly reasonable for partners to use the same words but mean completely different things.
I have encountered this in my own relationships in the past, especially one of the most fundamental words in a romantic relationship, and that is the word love. What does love mean one person to another? This has been a landmine I've hit, unfortunately, more than once, where my definition of love has not matched up to the other person's definition of love, but we both say the same word. We just interpret its meaning and its importance in completely different ways. So yes, I've run into that iceberg a couple times too many.
Based on their family of origin and life experiences even before meeting each other.
Family of origin? That's an odd turn of phrase.
This often results in partners getting stuck in a defensive battle, protecting themselves from perceived threats that were never really attacks in the first place.
Well, I mean, I can't deny that after, fool me once, shame on me kind of thing. I've been gun shy in some relationships because of experiences from prior relationships. I've been wary of certain things or certain red flags or things that I perceive to be red flags, either, to my benefit or to my detriment. Sometimes I, jump at ghosts that aren't really there. And sometimes I've gained a little wisdom and saved myself some hurt. So it's a mixed bag sometimes, I suppose.
But unhealthily expressed pleas for understanding, support, and empathy. Similarly, in your personal and professional relationships, I encourage you to learn to accept the inevitability of misunderstanding.
Okay, so we have the inevitability of offense, inevitability of ignorance, and the inevitability of misunderstanding. Okay. Again, on the surface, not necessarily bad, lessons for life kind of thing. I'm just not sure that the follow-up on each one actually equates to the wisdom of the opener.
For even our reasonable intentions can result in unintentionally negative impacts, leading others to feel the need to protect themselves from us.
Come on, say microaggressions. Come on, just shorthand all of this with microaggressions, please.
As a perceived threat.
Or unconscious bias, something like that, one of the two.
But wait a minute. Why would you be a perceived threat if all you have is good intentions?
Because people are oversensitive and paranoid these days, or in general, I don't know.
Well, consider this for a moment.
Okay.
Consider the possibility that before their encounter with you, they experienced 9 times of someone else saying the exact same thing or doing the exact same thing that you did.
Okay. Well, I kind of opened myself up for that one because I talked about how, past relationship experiences made me wary of similar situations in the future. I mean, this can be the process of creating wisdom about certain things, but okay. Now, of course, I can't possibly know that anything I'm going to say as a, ignorant individual of this other person's sensitivities is going to set them off. Okay. So what is my responsibility as the speaker to them and their responsibility as the offense taker?
But after each of those times, it was followed by a hurtful experience. Then you come along, the 10th person, to do or say that exact thing.
And so I am worthy of some kind of outburst or retribution. You're going to, okay, this is one of those situations where I'm really hoping our speaker speaks to the responsibility of the offense taker in this interaction.
Despite your reasonable intentions, it's also reasonable for them to see the pattern and to fear similar harm.
No, it is not. Being wary is one thing. Fearing or then reacting or assuming to know the outcome, that's different. Okay. In my relationships, if I saw a similar pattern of behavior from a secondary partner after a previous partner did things, I became wary, but I didn't immediately convict them of wrongdoing. This is the difference, right? It's being able to be reasonable and rational, even if you're seeing similar patterns from the past. Allowing for the possibility that you could be wrong swings both ways. Even if you have prior experience that might inform you of maybe something to come, you got to at least allow for the possibility that you could be incorrect. And just be wary. But okay, so someone is now 10 times offended, and I just happen to be lucky number 10.
From you. It's because of this that if you find out that you've unintentionally offended someone, I encourage you to resist the temptation of getting stuck in the shock of the existence of the offense, and instead ask yourself, am I really being attacked?
Yes, I'm really being attacked. If they are using me as a proxy for their previous 9 times discomfort, yes, I am being attacked.
Or have I simply reminded them of a past hurt?
How could I possibly know that? Am I supposed to interrogate this person about their previous psychological damage? No. They are, presumably, if we're talking about a professional environment, as you mentioned previously, presumably we're dealing with full-grown adults who are responsible for their own feelings and their own interactions and reactions to other people. If someone is so unhinged about their past interactions with people about whatever, that they're going to take out their frustrations on a completely uninvolved individual who just happened to say or do something that set them off. That's their responsibility to restrain, not my responsibility to interrogate. No. Okay. Again, this talk goes back and forth between reasonableness and then sneaking in some sort of like nobody's responsible for their own emotions kind of thing. It's really irking me. It's irking my emotions. I am offended. Thank you, Officer Buck. Isn't noticing patterns used as justification for bad things in the past and present? Yeah. Okay. I mean, it can be. Anybody can take anything to decide to use as justification for anything, good, bad, or otherwise. The question is, are you thinking critically and are you being at least reasonable or pragmatic given the circumstances you find yourself in? The phrase past as prologue. I mean, if you don't recognize the dangers of past events as indicators for what might come down the line, if those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, etc. But there's a reasonable way to apply it, and then there's an unreasonable way to apply it. And when you're talking about individuals that have no idea about your personal past, can you at least extend to them the benefit of the doubt that they weren't targeting you, that they weren't seeking to wound you or something? When are we going to get to the responsibility of the offense taker?
And made them fear that future harm is on the way.
No, I didn't make them do anything. They chose. Let me back up a little bit because I cut them off somewhat.
Am I really being attacked? Or have I simply reminded them of a past hurt and made them fear that future harm is on the way?
Okay, well, again, if I'm going to overthink every possibility of my responsibility in the ethereal sense of someone else's emotions, I'm never going to get anything done. Okay, no. Okay.
If that's even a remote possibility in your life, I encourage you to accept the inevitability of misunderstanding.
Yeah, but you're not talking about accepting misunderstanding. You're talking about accepting your responsibility for someone else's misunderstanding. Okay, when you say that I then have to take someone else's offense on board internally, I'm not accepting the inevitability of someone misunderstanding me. I'm accepting the inevitability of having to accept someone else's misunderstanding into myself. No, it's their misunderstanding. It's their choice to make that interpretation. It's their choice not to extend a completely uninvolved third party the benefit of the doubt of being disconnected from their past experiences. We're going all over the place here, and it keeps feeling like it's a little manipulative. You lead me on with something reasonable, and then you follow through with some you're the guilty party person who didn't mean anything, wasn't targeting anyone, etc.
And channel your efforts into the fourth relationship strengthening strategy, which is to learn to reassure the hurt person that you are not the threats that they fear that you are.
Is this relationship strengthening advice, or is this conflict capitulation advice? Because it sure feels like the latter the more we go on. But okay, sorry, I need to back up a little bit just to make sure I got this again.
A misunderstanding, and channel your efforts into the fourth relationship strengthening strategy, which is to learn to reassure the hurt person that you are not the threats that they fear that you are.
I need to reassure the quote unquote hurt person. Okay.
You see, when my couples get stuck in a defensive battle, protecting themselves from perceived threats and misrepresentations, what turns things around is not more explanations and justifications.
See, okay, and I apologize for all the stopping and starting and everything, but A, YouTube requires it of me, and secondly, thoughts keep occurring to me. He's... Okay, maybe I'm off base here. I am not a family therapist. I'm not a psychologist or anything else, but he's mixing relationship styles here, right? He's discussing the relationship styles between a intimately involved romantic couple, married otherwise, and he's also talking about professional relationships at the same time. I think these two dynamics are so far apart from one another that they can't be so easily conjoined as he's doing so. It just doesn't quite fit the same way in my mind. I'm not saying there's not any overlap between the dynamics of a, intimate relationship and conceivably a professional one. I'm not saying there's no crossover in conflict resolution between these two dynamics, but he's talking about them in conjunction that just doesn't feel quite right. I don't know what else to say about it, just something that I noticed.
It's instead when one or both partners can get to the point of saying, I see better than I did before your past hurts. I see the impact that they've had on your current unmet needs. And I want to come alongside of you to help make your future better than your hurtful past.
Well, yes, this requires honest communication between, I'm going to assume for the moment he's talking primarily about romantic partners. Yes, if we're going to lead a long commingling life with one another, it would help to know that if there is something, a pet peeve, a sensitive spot, whatever else, that is and here's the thing, having a pet peeve or having something that you don't like, or what is the beeping going on? You got that like construction something, big dump truck backing up beeping sound. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it is annoying the heck out of me. Anyway, okay. See if I can concentrate again with that thing going off. What was I saying? I don't know what I was saying now. Stupid dump truck. Okay, I'm going to run for office and try to do away with dump truck backup beeps, or change it to something more pleasant. Like, I don't know, dog, cat, fox saying hello or something, right? Wowie, wow, wow. See, now, wouldn't that be a better signal to people to back up if you hear that? Anyway, I lost my train of thought because of stupid beeping. Dump trucks. Down with dump trucks.
Past hurts. I see the impact that they've had on your current unmet needs. And I want to come alongside of you to help make your future better than your hurtful past.
Yes.
Similarly, in your personal and professional relationships.
Again, two different levels of interaction.
I encourage you to look for opportunities to reassure a hurt person that you are not the threat that they fear that you are.
Well, what if they're a racist or a sexist and they've already assumed that anything I might say or do is inherently evil because of what I am? I'm not saying that happens in life, but,
How can you do this?
I don't know. How can I assuage someone's reflexive and unjustified anger, fear, offense, or anything else with my honeyed words?
Well, it can start with a verbal acknowledgement of the limitations of your intentions, recognizing that your intent does not always determine your impact.
Come on, okay. If he doesn't say the phrase microaggressions by the end of this, he has effectively given the definition of microaggressions. So by the end of the talk, I will be circling microaggressions or unconscious bias.
But some of you even here may actually resent intentions.
Okay. Well, now you're starting to talk on the side of the offense taker. Yeah, resenting intentions. Your intentions don't matter. It's how I feel. All right, now you're going to now speak to the fallacy of that way of thinking, right?
But I find that many people don't actually resent intentions because they actually have a problem with good intentions. But more often because people have received the gift of good intentions being offered instead of what they really need, changed behavior.
Right. They need changed behavior. I say something that is without intent of offense. Someone decides to take offense, and what they need is for me to change my behavior to make their little pocket of the universe peaceful again, because they can't stand anything that goes against their particular worldview. So is the follow-up here going to be, therefore, it is my responsibility as the speaker to change my behavior because someone decided to become offended at something I said that completely lacked intent to offend? Is that where we're going?
You can separate yourself from these experiences by making sure that your verbal acknowledgement of reassurance is always followed by meaningful behavioral change.
Who is behaviorally changing?
Showing that your commitment is more than just words, but action.
Right. Okay. So all responsibility falls upon the speaker to alter their reality, their perspective, their speech, and everything else to please anybody who comes up and decides and declares that they've had their feelings hurt. Well, riddle me this, Batman. What if I have two different people come up to me with two different avenues of offense that equally contradict one another? Do I have to change my behavior in whatever I say, do, or speak, or have to walk on eggshells around one and then completely transmogrify my brain anytime I'm within earshot of the other? What if they're both in the same room at the same time and I'm saying things? What do I do then?
Showing to make their future better than their hurtful past.
I have to make their future better for the offense they chose to take. This might be the most mild. I'm getting close to hitting the WTF button because this might be like it's not completely crazy talk nonsense, but it's really starting to frustrate me. It's starting to compound just how ridiculous this is going.
Now, I'm not really here to tell you one more thing that you should already be doing.
But no, you just told, you're right. Not one more thing. You told us 4 more things. You gave us a list of 4 different things we need to be doing to placate someone who's decided to go off the ranch.
Behavioral change.
Yeah.
Showing that your commitment is more than just words, but action. Showing to make their future better than their hurtful past.
Yeah, I know I backed up a bit more than I meant to, but I really love for him to give us an example of what more would a hypothetical speaker need to do on top of words to assuage someone's fears that their hurtful past, whatever that means, is going to be riled up again by something unintentional that might be said or done in the future. Like, do I give him a candy bar? Like, what exactly is that?
Now, I'm not really here to tell you one more thing that you should already be doing, but might not be doing. No, I'm here to tell you what the next person who you unintentionally offend needs you to do.
Oh, okay. I'm going to circle. Mind reading or assumes motives. You're going to tell me what the next person I offend needs me to do. All right. Well, I guess this will be the grand summation because he's got about 1 minute and 30 seconds left. What is my responsibility the next time I offend anybody? And what do they need me to do? I can't wait.
They need you to accept the inevitability of offense.
No. They need to accept the inevitability of offense. They need to accept the fact that if they choose to be offended. Okay. I need to accept the inevitability of offense. Okay. All right. I said it before. I'll say it again. You're right. I cannot please all of the people all of the time. Somewhere, somehow, some way, in some fashion, someone could decide to interpret something I've said, done, or otherwise and internalize it as something offensive. You're right. It can happen. It is not my problem. It is outside my realm of control.
Getting stuck in the shock of the existence of the offense does less to help that person than your efforts to reduce the likelihood of the next offense.
It is not my responsibility to help that person through their offense.
They need you to accept the inevitability of ignorance. You don't need to know everything about everyone all the time.
I can't.
But you can accept what you don't know.
What? Huh?
Value what you do know and learn more one experience at a time.
Have you ever been on the internet? I know nothing about just about anybody that I've had some kind of conflict except their avatar and their name or their handle. Maybe just the world I live in. Most of the interactions I have with people that turn into some kind of conflict these days almost inevitably and completely happens on the internet. So I guess I just live in a bubble.
They need you to accept the inevitability of misunderstanding.
No. They need to accept their own propensity for misunderstanding, not me. What? I know I'm a broken record. No responsibility befalls the offense taker. The offense taker has no part in this. They are a passive actor. They have no actions to take. They have no responsibility to make for themselves. They're just a perpetual victim of anything I have to say, and I have to be the one to act to help and heal them. Okay, I know it's a little late in the game, and again, like I said, it's a little bit more passive than perhaps previous situations, but all the same.
What the fuck are you talking about?
What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Right?
I mean, maybe one of the lesser combative WTFs I've ever had before, but it's just sort of this slow, boiling irritation, point by point as he goes down the list. Also, I'm going to circle benevolent condescension because it really feels like that. It really does feel like that. And condescending to the offense taker. There's a point in this conversation, and if it was like maybe double the length or something, and he spent equally as much time talking about the person taking offense, you could have somewhat, maybe kind of, sort of, a balanced discussion. But in this instance, no. Anyone's offense is fully justified, and the person who has caused the offense to be taken has to be the one to fix it. Doesn't fly.
Acknowledging that your intent does not always determine your impact. And they need you to reassure hurt persons that you are not the threat that they fear that you are.
I am not responsible for anybody else's delicate feelings.
You can do this with flexibility and openness to change, but not change out of correction for being a bad person.
No, not change for correction of being a bad person. No. Just that I have harmed someone by their own volition, and therefore I need to alter the way that I behave, alter the way that I speak, alter the way that I express myself, not because I'm a bad person, but because this person is such an immature being that I need to coddle them. Because I hurt their fifis.
But change out of consideration for the well-being of someone else.
Change for, okay, the beeping's happening again. It's happening again. How many times can you back up that dump truck? That sounds like a rap lyric. Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. Calm down. You take a breather for a second. The frustration of the speaker. The beeping of the dump truck. All right. Let's keep going. We're almost done.
You never know. You might be the one in your environment to reduce the likelihood of the next misunderstanding-influenced divorce.
Never say divorce. Never say the word divorce. I learned this from a previous TEDx. Simply saying the word divorce is a prophecy, a self-fulfilling prophecy. But anyway.
Friendship breakup, job resignation, or even cultural cancellation, all often influenced by unintentional offenses.
No, don't worry. I can do anything and everything to try to placate anybody who might take offense, and someone will find a way to take offense. And in this day and age, someone will find a way to try to cancel you in some way, shape, or form. You just said, accept the inevitability of offense. It's going to happen. Anyone has the power at any time to decide to make it happen. You have no control over it. You cannot cure them of it. And every time you try to capitulate to them, every time you try to make them happy or make peace with them, they see weakness. They see weakness to exploit. They see weakness to manipulate and turn you around their finger. And now suddenly I'm getting I'm just interrupted by all sorts of noises tonight. I got dump trucks beeping at me. I got my phone going off. Hoy. All right. I'm getting derailed left, right, and center here. All right. Anyway, we're almost done.
And just like my couples, I want you to know that you don't have to live in fear of even unintentional offenses.
I don't.
Instead, you can accept the inevitability of offense.
Okay, I'm going to circle, attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase, because if nothing else, he's given us 4 and he said them over and over and over again like a mantra, so I think that's fair enough.
Make every reasonable effort to reduce the frequency of those offenses.
You can't. What is a reasonable effort to reduce the frequency of offense? If I'm going to hit some deep buried landmine in someone's psyche that I couldn't possibly have any knowledge about ahead of time, anyway.
And move forward, repairing and strengthening every relationship you encounter. Thank you.
Nope. All right. Well delivered, well spoken, well constructed presentation. I understood what he was saying every step of the way. However, it was half baked. It lacked a reasonable consideration for the responsibility of the, again, offense taking party, put all the responsibility on the speaker, had no responsibility for anybody taking offense, as though anything they have to say is somehow justified or deserving of respect or some kind of, again, diplomatic placation. No. No how, no way, didn't work. In sort of the surface level sentiment, I agree with him to a certain extent. And some of the phrases he used are taken out of context, not bad advice, as in the inevitability of offense. Anybody at any time could decide to become offended by what you say. Just accept that and don't take it personally, right? And don't let it infuse itself into your psyche of having to be walking on eggshells all the time about what you say. In this day and age and in general, if you're constantly trying to make everybody happy all the time and try to avoid offending anybody or saying something that somebody might take this, you're never going to do anything. You might as well never leave the house, right? Just anyway. So some of the things sounded reasonable, and then he kept going and turning it all around to, I have to take responsibility for somebody else who is such a delicate flower. I have to look at everybody as just, a fragile piece of glass that if I say the wrong word and it's not muad'Dib, they're still going to shatter into a million pieces. Anyway, let's bring up the bingo card and review it one more time before I get to your arguments and suggestions. Before I get there, holy cow, Derek LaRue. Hello, Derek LaRue. Thank you so much. That's very generous of you, as always. Appreciate your support and generosity, as always. Hope you're having a good evening. Hope you're enjoying the show. Hope you are warm where you are, as everybody here, especially Gen T Maxi, is in the cold. All right. Well, then, with that being said, and I'm trying to click the little heart thing on Derek's donate. There we go. You see, there's this little emoji pop-up menu thing on the side of the chat box. And if it's the last message on the chat box, it pops up and it doesn't allow me to hit anything on that side. And anyway, technical worries, never mind. Okay, anyway, let's go to the bingo card. Collectivize his own demographic. He never did, as far as I can tell. He never, and he didn't even say things like, as a family therapist. He just said that he was a family therapist. So. Unless I missed something. Systemic or institutional? No. Sales pitch for product or service? You know what? I am going to circle yes, because his name was on the title card, and he said he was a relationship therapist, and he talked about having family practice. So even if it was only a soft sell, he was advertising for his own services. So circling on. Childhood or family anecdote? No, he talked about professional interactions. I don't recall he ever talked about his growing up or anything like that. So no. Diversity, equity, and or inclusion? No. Plays victim? No. Microaggressions or unconscious bias? Well, he all but used the term in spelling out the effective definition multiple times. So I'm going to circle that one. Privilege? Not in any way that I could say was clear. Patriarchy? No, he talked about relationships. He never really talked about, gender hierarchies or anything. Weightless example? Did he give us any examples? He gave us scenarios. He gave us hypotheticals. Did he ever actually give us an example? That would be a tough one. Economic disparity? No, I don't think so. Feminism? No. Marginalization? He came really close to getting into that territory by talking about, someone may have had an experience or an oppression or whatever that you just never have experienced, and so on and so forth. It was just on the edge of going into the same kind of rhetoric that we've heard before when it comes to, DEI and collective oppressions and things like that. But it just came close to the line. White supremacy? No. Word salad? No, I didn't find myself, not understanding what he was saying. I just found it entirely one-sided and unproductive, but that's different. Self-vilification or wretchedness? I don't recall that he ever put himself down in some way. Argumentative non sequitur? Oh man, I know that there's one in here somewhere. Well, that's always a tough one. It's like argumentative non sequitur, contradicts own point or argument, where he kind of already did that. Yeah. Anecdote that probably never happened. He never gave us any anecdotes. He gave us a bunch of hypotheticals, gave us a bunch of scenarios, and leaves out vital context. Yes, again, and I'll say it at least one more time. What is the responsibility of the offense taker in these interactions? Because there is some, but you're letting them entirely off the hook. Okay, so that is the card as I have it. It's a little sparse out there. A little sparse. You might not get a bingo out of this one, but I am happy to be corrected. Anybody have any arguments? Let me know in the chat. Advocates Diaboli, unorthodox privilege of sorts. Hear me out. All right. My ears are open. Oh, I have to read something. Never mind. This entire talk gave privilege to people who are offended. Oh, in that they never need reflect on why they are offended, and you must instead. You know what? I like it. I like it, and I'm further assuaged by any concerns about it. Not to say that it wasn't a good argument, but it's also not a bingo square. So a little bit of leverage is good there. Yeah, no, that's it's a reversal, but I like it. All right, thank you, Advocatus. Let me update the card there. All right, moving on. Good one. Let's see. Rotten Corpse, Scribelight. I can see. Okay, I can send the how to get rid of the chat heart in Discord if you'd like. Oh, there's a way to do that. Sure. If there's some way to get, I don't know that I ever use those emojis. Like I can find, there's a little emoji button down there. I don't know why that little pop-up is there in the first place, but sure. If you've got a tip for me to get rid of that, by all means, let me know. It's probably in the studio or something, probably, isn't it? Let's see. Tony Gift says, I'm sold on this speaker's cult. Does Scribe have a code to join it for cheap? No. I don't involve myself with cults. I just read about them a lot. Let's see. What else? Was that it? Is that all the arguments I've got here? I mean, it was a relatively straightforward and sparse of extra details kind of presentation, so I could believe it. I can hear it when Scribe doesn't talk. Oh, the beeping? The beeping? Yeah. Well, they've stopped now or they've gone away. One of the two. I'm not quite sure. Alan Thyler, peace. Yes. Bye, Scrappy. Are you peacing out? Is that a peace out? Okay. Let's see. Advocata says, even I was having a hard time coming up with arguments. Yeah, he didn't really give a whole lot of fuel to the usual TEDx analysis because he stuck to his point. He didn't waver too much. Again, it was a well-scripted overall presentation. I didn't find myself having, like I said before, any sort of like outburst WTF moments. But at the same time, there were these very gentle contradictions or blatant omissions of dynamic that obviously caught my attention. So there was that. Yeah, this might be just sort of a quiet TEDx for once. Not too much to discuss, not too much to counterpoint. And I think all the ones that there were to be had, I kind of already made. So yeah, I guess I'll give it another minute or two here if you guys have any other arguments to be considered. But before then, a couple of programming notes. First and foremost, the Sunday stream coming up on Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on this channel, where I talk about a thing. Not sure what I'll talk about yet. I'll usually decide on Saturday, but it's coming, so just keep your eyes open for that. Also, Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Midnight's Edge After Dark channel, I am usually scheduled to appear on the Shit List show, where we go over our personal top fives of different things in pop culture, usually movies, TV shows, or comic books and such. And I'm not 100% sure what this week's topic is. I have a feeling, I had a notion, but they're still deciding about it on the back end of things. So we'll find out on Sunday. Also, I am in the process. I know I've said it before, but it's always the case. I am in the process of trying to arrange a panel discussion for Living on Borrowed Crime. I can't confirm the topic yet. I don't want to make any promises I can't keep or write any checks I can't have cashed, because it's all about scheduling people from around the world to show up, all of them within the same hour or hour and a half span of time. It is a lot more difficult than you might imagine, but I'm working on it. So soon, fingers crossed, knock Formica, I will have more on that, hopefully within the next few days. Keep an eye on the Discord, keep an eye on my Twitter for that. Let's see. And Advocatus giving it another Hail Mary here. It was a totally backward speech, though. As a therapist, he should be helping people get over being offended, not enabling it. Oh, I thought it was going to be an argument for a square. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And if he was talking about relationship dynamics, you have to weigh both sides of an interaction. You have to at least give some voice to both sides, not just the person on the one side and forgiving and just indemnifying someone on the other side of the equation. Everybody has a component to add to any conflict. You know, there's the person who caused the problem in some way, or the person who has decided to make it a problem, and both have a certain measure of responsibility in coming to some kind of accord due to that conflict, especially in intimate relationships, but certainly you can find a way to carry that over into professional ones. And he just gave the other side a pass when it came to offense, when it came to unintended offenses. He basically just gave a free hall pass for all microaggression claims. He never said the word microaggression, but it was heavily embedded into the entire thing. And so there you go. That's what I took from this talk. That's what I took from this talk. Thank you again, Alan Thyler, for the thank you, Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox.
Wowie, wow.
That is a P-Dog Night, Dogcat Fox. Thank you so much, Alan. That's very generous of you thank you so much for that. Hope you enjoyed the show. But with that, everyone, I think I'm going to call it here. Yeah, a relatively peaceful, relatively sedate TEDx, I suppose. After the last couple of weeks, perhaps we were due. Yeah. So let me know what you thought of the show in the comments below. Leave a like on the way out if you would. And also, if you like this kind of thing, or there are other content creators out there who you appreciate, it is always appreciated if you share the content around with other people on the chance that they might find it interesting too, because you guys are our best algorithm. With that, everyone, again, thank you for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very little to do. And Adebisi reminds me, and I even prepared it ahead of time, but I almost forgot. In the chat, you will now find a link to the Discord server. If you're not already a member of the Discord, I'll try that again. If you're not already a member of the Discord, you can easily become one by clicking on that link and finding yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you just have to say the secret word. The secret word tells me and my moderators that you actually watch the show and have earned the right, the privilege, the entitlement of joining the Discord server. And today's secret word is inevitability. He liked to use that word in all of his steps, the inevitability. So just say, hello, inevitability, and I'll know that you watch the show. I want to thank everybody who donated either to myself or to the GoFundMe's pinned to the top of the chat box. Thank you guys so much for your generosity. It really is appreciated. And with that, everyone, I hope you all have a good rest of your Thursday, Friday ahead of you, weekend as well. I hope you're all warm where you are, because I know it's cold out there. I hope you are all safe and well. If you are not well, please get well soon, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.